any of Okay, our webinar is now being recorded. So for those of you that are here, have you joined a webinar with Magix before? Hi, Luke. Good morning. Good morning, Angela. Hey, Blue. So you guys have joined a webinar before. So typically how we do these webinars is let's see here. Oh, Samantha, it's your first time. Welcome. Okay, so what we have in store for today is actually very exciting because what I want to do is I want to make sure that we don't take up too much of your time. So instead of typically what I would do is I would do the application, I would do the talking and the teaching and all of that. But today we have one of our Magix crew members here, one of our brand ambassadors and educators. And so what's going to happen is in a moment, I'm going to switch camera screens and she's going to do all of the application while I take all of your questions and tell you guys all about Magix 10 and how it can change your business. So before I do that, I want to do a quick introduction for those of you that don't know me. My name is Araz Nelson. I am the lead educator for Moan International. About 5 years ago, Magix 10 was presented to me as an opportunity for something that could change my business, something that could change the industry. And so it was brought to my attention that there is this new color line, new to the United States, and it's revolutionary. And I'm like, what's so revolutionary about it, right? I've been a colorist for 20 years. I've been involved in education for 15 of those years. And I was told that it's a 10-minute color. Okay, cool. But let me ask you guys this. How many of you have tried other 10-minute colors? Is that instant burning? It smells like fire in here. How many of you have tried other 10-minute colors? Oh, hi, Aditi. Nice to see you here. Yes, yes, you all have tried. Okay, so I had also tried 10-minute color. This was 5 years ago, and I personally wasn't very impressed. What I found was happening was that the colors were not true to tone. And the biggest problem for me was that they were progressive. So here's what I mean by progressive. You put the color on, and if you don't wash it off in 10 minutes, it's going to get darker. Now, I love the idea and the concept of a 10-minute color. I love the idea of getting clients in and out quicker, but that unreliability stressed me out. So when I tried Magix, I had this preconceived notion of just like, oh, it's probably like every other 10-minute color. And then I was 100% blown away because it's absolutely not that, right? It's very, very different than what I had used in the past. And that's because of the technology that's behind Magix 10. So today I'm really excited and I'm trying to get my screens to work. I'm excited to share with you guys what makes Magix 10 different. And not only that, but how this can change your business. So I'm gonna transition into a different screen right now. Let's go here. Hold on one second. Okay, so we should be at a different screen right now. You should be able to see me and our model. So I want to introduce to you guys Sarah. Come on over. So Sarah is one of our educators in Orange County, and she's going to be helping me in assisting with the application today. So I want to share with you guys our model. And this is something that we are playing with. Okay, so here's our model. Let's see, where's she at? Here we go. Okay, so Sarah, if you can open up her hair, you guys can see her roots. She is 100% white. She also has a little bit of a banding. So she did an at-home hair color right there. Yep, you can see that. And then her ends are a little bit darker. So the goal today is for us to cover those white hairs and to even out her canvas. I know the lighting isn't so great, but you guys should be able to see what's going on there. So can you guys see that okay? Were you guys able to see her roots all right? And I need you guys to communicate with me via the chat box so I know that we're good. We got a nice Yeah, so those are some crazy roots. So today what we're going to use on her is our new family of colors, which are the true neutrals. And I'm going to actually have Sarah mix if you don't mind. You might want to keep the scale on there while you mix. And then the formula is right there. So for her root area, we are using a level 6 true neutral. And how many grams? 30 grams of a level 6 true neutral, 20 grams of level 6.0 cool natural with 21 volume for her roots. And then we are going to be doing an alkaline demi on her ends with a level 7.0. So a level 7 true neutral. So you got it? Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is with Magix 10, a little bit about the company, right? The brand and how Magix 10 got started. So one of the things to know is that Magix 10 was actually launched in 2011, and Magix is a worldwide international brand. So Magix is in pretty much every country, every continent. Angela says, will you be posting the before and after so we can see up close? You know what? We can definitely do that. Sarah, before you mix, do you mind taking some pictures of her hair? And then I will post that on the Magix 10 page. And so going back to Magix 10 and Moan International. So initial launch was in 2011. And what happened is it was very similar to old technology. Other technology, and what Moan realized is this wasn't going to work. So in 2015, they pulled everything off the market, reformulated and relaunched the new Magix 10. So I want to talk about the technology that's in Magix 10, how this color works in 10 minutes, and how this can change your business. So the first thing that I want to cover is when we're mixing, okay? And listen, I've been a hairdresser for 20 years, and I know there are some of you who probably do this. How many of you are using a scale or a beaker or some form of measurement to weigh out your color? Because here's what I've seen over the years is there's a lot of hairdressers who eyeball. Scale, yes. You guys are using a scale. Yes, always. Okay, good job. Angela says, I have to use a scale. Yes. Okay, thank you. So we are making moves in the industry. And I think that if you don't use a scale, it's okay. But we can always learn new habits to be better colorists. So here's a question that I want to pose to you. If you're not using a scale, especially with a color that's so revolutionary like Magix 10. So let's think about this. What could happen is if you're eyeballing and you end up using too much color, not enough developer, what could happen there? Amber, this class, my goal is to have this class done in 45 minutes. So this is why we're having Sarah do the application while I do the presentation so we can make this magic happen quicker. So Amber says color won't take. Blue says that it could be darker. Yes. So think about it this way. If you're adding more dye and not enough developer, you might get an uneven result, right? It might be darker. Now let's do the opposite. Let's flip it around. What happens if you accidentally put too much developer and not enough color? What could happen in that situation? It's diluted, yes. Not enough coverage, absolutely. It could look like hot roots. It could look like it's hollow because now we've put in too much developer. And if we put in too much developer, we are diluting the dye load. So one of the most important things that I can say, yes, it will, not that it will not cover, you're just not going to get that robust coverage that you're looking for. And it could wash out quicker. Absolutely, Amber. So one of the things that I tell people all the time is you want to make sure that you are using your scale, you are measuring out your color, okay? A question that comes up often with regards to Magix 10 is how does this work in 10 minutes? And so I want to give you just the nuts and bolts of how this process happens and the technology behind it so that when you start using Magix, when you start playing around with it and using it on your clients, you're grounded in the information on the why. Why does it work? So the number one thing we want to talk about when it comes to Magix 10 is the difference between Magix 10 and other 10-minute colors. I know I'm biased because I've been using Magix for 5 years. I got involved with the company because I love it, but there's truly nothing else on the market like Magix 10. There's other 10-minute colors. There's nothing like Magix 10. A couple of things to consider. Number one, old 10-minute color technology, here's the ideology. Here's how they built their technology. It's highly alkaline. Okay, so let's take it back to beauty school really quick. If something is highly alkaline, what does that do to the hair? What does that mean? If it's highly alkaline, so Aditi said softer, not quite. So if you put a product, yes, Rebecca, swells or opens the cuticle. Blue says that it's bad for the hair. It's not necessarily bad for the hair, but the more alkalinity in product, the faster the hair is going to soften and swell. The faster the hair softens and swells, the more damage that can occur. So old 10-minute color technology is let's blast the cuticle open with high alkalinity, and then let's pack it with dyes. So it's got a very heavier dye load, which is why a lot of the other 10-minute colors are what they call progressive. It can get darker. So their thinking is this: let's blast the cuticle open. Let's get as much dye in there as possible and hope and pray that the hairdresser washes it off in 10 minutes. Because if not, their level 8 is going to start getting darker and darker and darker. That does not work, right? As a professional, I can't risk my results being compromised because maybe I didn't set my timer for 10 minutes. Like that can't happen. So what Magix 10 did is it's the exact opposite, right? So our color is actually low in ammonia. And the technology that we use is called spectrum technology. So I want you to think about it this way. The color molecules that are used in Magix 10, like the dye precursors, the molecules, are a lot smaller in size, smaller in weight. So what this means is we don't need the cuticle layers to like soften and swell incredibly too much because these dye molecules are a lot smaller. And if they're smaller, that means we're softly swelling the hair. And these dye molecules are getting into the cuticle and into the cortical fibers quicker. Okay, so it's micropigments. But here's where it differs. The couplers that are used in Magix 10, the dyes couple and combine. So think about it this way: is these small molecules get into the hair and then they bind together and they grow larger. And when that happens, you don't have to worry about the color washing out as quickly. Does this make sense? Give me a thumbs up if you're following along, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Okay, so definitely the smaller micropigments and the way the color builds in the hair is more quickly than traditional color. And because of the micropigments, because of the spectrum technology and how it's formulated, you don't have to worry about Magix 10 getting progressively darker, right? This is the one of the major points of difference is that we're not progressive. So I know more recently, there's definitely has been a need and a want and a pull for a 10-minute color, which is why you start seeing it more and more, right? How many of you guys have noticed in the last month or two, way more 10-minute colors coming up, okay? Here's what I want a point that I want to bring home. Every other that I know of, most if not all other 10-minute colors have a traditional hair color line, and then their 10-minute color is a niche product. It's like a cousin. It's part of the family, but it's not the main focus, okay? So what that tells me is there's definitely a need for it, right? People are wanting 10-minute color, so these bigger manufacturers are producing it, but that's not their main focus. Whereas with Magix 10, our whole line is 10 minutes or less, depending on what you're using. So if you're using it as an alkaline or acidic demi, 5 to 8 minutes. The only exception is our high lift colors, which process for 20 minutes, which is still absolutely mind-blowing to me. So knowing that the whole ideology and the brand and the culture of Magix 10 is to help hairdressers save time, is to help clients save time. So I joke all the time that I brought Magix on selfishly, right? As a stylist who does a lot of just root retouches, I'm like, dude, if I can get people in and out in an hour instead of 2, I just doubled my income, right? Like I just gave myself 100% raise. So I brought it on selfishly, not realizing the value that it was going to bring to my clients. So if you have a clientele that is a lot of corporate women, right? Corporate working jobs. I have so many of these women who come in on their lunch break, right? Their bosses or their managers or whoever don't even know that they're getting their hair done because they're in and out in 45 minutes. So think about the time that is saving for that client so that she doesn't have to come in after work. Instead, she can go home and be with her family. Right? Or if you have a lot of women who are working and they don't want to work late at night, or they don't want to get their hair done late at night. I mean, think about the value that you're going to bring to your clients by offering this more express service. And I always say it's express in time, but not quality, right? Angela says, I have never used high lift colors. Can you explain the use and the strategy? I can. Give me 1 second. We're going to get there soon. The point I want to bring home here is, you know, the not only can you give yourself 100% raise. I mean, think about it. If you're normally with a client for 2 hours and you're charging, this is just for hypotheticals, $100, your average is $50 an hour. But if that client can come in and out in half the time, you just gave yourself 100% raise because now you made $100 on that 1 hour instead of the 2 hours. So I'm hoping what's happening for you that are here, you're starting to think, oh my gosh, okay, wait, there is value here for me, right? And for your clients. So that's one of the biggest proponents for me on why I love Magix, because it changed my business. Rebecca says 1 hour for just color or with a haircut and blow dry also. So for me, it's with a haircut and a trim, not a full blown haircut, but just cleaning out the perimeter, evening out the layers a little bit. They're in and out between 45 minutes to 1 hour, depending on the length and density. So either way, your time is being cut at least by 75%. And what I'm here to tell you is this isn't just for root retouches, right? We market Magix, we talk about Magix for great coverage, but any service that you do in the salon can be done using Magix 10. So if you do a root retouch and a color balancing, if you do a bright red, right? If you do highlights or balayage and then you root melt or you roots, you know, there's all these names for these techniques. Any service that you do in the salon can be done with Magix 10. So for those of you that are in suites, for example, you're limited in space. So do you need to be carrying multiple color lines, or can you get everything you need with Magix 10? The answer is yes. So we have the permanent. We can make Magix 10 an alkaline demi. We can make Magix an acidic demi. We have the high lift colors and we have lightener. So all of your needs as a stylist are met with Magix 10. And so I'm hoping this is getting you guys excited about what's possible. Yep, Luke says it best, a comprehensive salon color solution, only just way faster. And so what this can do for you is huge. And I'm excited that we have our model here. You guys, I'll post pictures of her hair too. I mean, she's 100% white, about 2 inches, and then another 2 inches of banding. And then her ends are just, I don't know. What would you say her ends are? Like a warm level. Warm levels, huh? 5-6-ish, exactly. Very porous though. So again, just a reminder, we're using the True Neutrals and a level 6 on her root with a little bit of the Cool Natural. And then on her ends, we're going to be doing level 7 True Neutral with 12 volume. Okay. So I want to the color book for Magix. Hang on 1 second. Let me grab. I didn't ask this question. How many of you guys are new to Magix? How many of you, like, where are you in your Magix journey, I should say? Are you just playing with it? Have you been using it for a while and you're obsessed? Are you, you know, just starting? Just started. Oh my gosh, all these brand new people, welcome. Okay, playing, brand new. Use the Nikki Wildflower kit, ready to dive in. Been using it since July. Rebecca's been using it 6.5 months. Love, love, love it. Amber, I've never used it, but I'm loving the classes. Why 12 volume on the ends instead of fixed? Good question. 2 full years, 100% Magix. Okay, so from what I can tell, let's see, brand new, haven't used it yet. 2 years, never have used it. Okay, so it seems like the majority of you are newer. I'm gonna put in the chat box, just in case you guys aren't, if you don't know, let's see here. I'm gonna put my Instagram handle on the chat box. For those of you, if you ever have questions, sorry, I'm having problems with my mouse here. If you ever have any Magix questions, please feel free to send me a message on Instagram. I don't think you guys saw that. So I'm gonna send it to everybody. 1 second. Okay. I found it through Nikki Wildflower and TikTok. Okay, so I'm putting my Instagram handle for everybody. So if you guys have any Magix questions, I will be happy to help you. So I want to share with you guys, remember how I said earlier that like majority of other brands that have a 10-minute color, their 10-minute color is a secondary niche type of product. 10-minute color is all we do with Magix. So typically, most other 10-minute color lines, you're very limited in your selection. So you probably have about this many colors to choose from, right? And I just want to show you if you haven't seen the Magix swatch book, okay? This is one half and then the other half. So we have 92 shades to pick from, guys, that all process in 10 minutes, that all can be an alkaline demi, acidic demi, permanent, high lift, whatever you need it for. 92 shades to choose from. So I've always said this is a colorist color line to where you have options, just like with any other color line, it just happens to process in 10 minutes, saving you time, right? Like big deal, time is money. So we want to make sure that you guys are well-versed in Magix 10. So as I'm talking about the color and the families, please feel free to put any questions that you guys have. Maybe if there's something that you don't understand, I want to help clear that up, okay? So one of the drawbacks and one of the issues that people have with other 10-minute colors is they assume or they think, or maybe it is that it's damaging, right? Because some of these colors are highly alkaline, they're blasting the cuticle open with high ammonia content, and it could potentially cause damage over time. What I want you to know with Magix, like I said earlier, yes, it's express, but not in quality. So those of you who are using it, I know there's a few of you on here, the results that you get, and you'll see it with our model today, the results that you're going to get, shiny, healthy, vibrant, beautiful hair. And that's because of CareVeg 18. So what CareVeg 18 is, it's a blend of plant-based amino acids and proteins that are in every tube of color. They are in every bottle of developer, this CareVeg 18. And its job is to make sure that the hair stays healthy, that the integrity of the hair isn't compromised. There's arginine, serine, threonine, wheat protein, soy protein in this complex. So I almost refer to it as like a hair mask that's already in your color. So I don't know if you guys can see the chat. Can you guys all see the chat, or is it just me? Okay, it looks like you guys can't see the chat. So if you're using the chat box, is there an option, a little blue box that says to host and panelists or to everyone? Do you have that option? How's it going? Good. That's not an option. Okay. So unfortunately, only I can see the chat box. Okay. Well, at least I can see it. And if you guys have questions, please definitely use that chat box. Somebody said, what would be comparable? Hey, can you see? I can see the questions in the chat box. So utilize the chat box. You can use the Q&A feature, but the chat box is just a lot easier for me as well. Somebody said, what would be equivalent to an 09P in shades? Okay, so what she's asking for is, so you guys know Shades EQ is an acidic demi, right? There's no base bump, no shifting of the base, no lifting. It's a true 100% deposit only. That is also possible with Magix 10 because of Morph. So Morph, let me grab this really quick. Magix Morph is something that we launched less than a year ago. And this was a game changer to the Magix line. I feel like every launch that we've had has just been like making Magix even better and better. And I didn't know that that was possible. But what Magix Morph does is it is an acidic transformer. So it will take an alkaline solution, like an alkaline color, and by adding Magix Morph, it will make it acidic, which means that it can be used as a true deposit only, no lift, no shift, acidic demi-permanent, just by the addition of Morph. So if you have a client that has highlights and virgin hair, and you don't want that virgin hair to get lifted or shifted or anything, your formula can have Morph in it and it will make it acidic. So to your question about what would be comparable to O9P, let me ask you this. Do you know the background tone of O9P? I don't remember who asked it. Who asked it? Let's see. Okay, it was Summer. So Summer asked what would be the equivalent to O9P. So it is a violet blue, exactly. So we have in our Ultralift Blondes, grab this so you guys can see. This row of colors down here, these are the high lift blondes. And I'm going to go to your question earlier about when and where you would use high lift blondes. But as far as this question about the O9P, our high lift blondes can be used as toners when you mix it with our 6 volume developer. And if you add Morph, it can be used as an acidic demi. So if the background for, exactly, Michelle, that's exactly where I was going. So I know you can't see this. So O9P is a blue violet. We have a 108 right here, which I would say is the equivalent to an O9P. Now, we also have a 101, which is a ash. We have a 102, like a blue. 102 is a violet. 108 is a blue violet. So you could use any of those, combination of those three to get something similar. You could also use our 0.12s. So we have a level 8, 9, and 10.12, which is a blue violet, heavy on the violet. So just be mindful of that. And just so you guys know, Sarah is now mixing her end color, and we're using a level 7 true neutrals with 12 volume. The reason I'm using 12 volume instead of 6 is because I want it to be a long lasting demi. When I use 6 volume, it is more of an alkaline demi, but the 12 volume will give me a little bit more longevity than a fixed one. Here's something to consider, guys, and this is true with any line, with any developer. The higher the developer, the further the color molecules will travel into the hair. The further they travel into the hair, the longer the hair color will last. So our 6 volume is really staying just in the cuticle layers, whereas the 12 volume gets into the cortical fibers. So her hair isn't extremely compromised. So I felt better using a 12 volume on her ends than a 6 volume. How can we get the swatch book so we can order more color? So Aditi, I believe you are in Texas. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes. Okay. So you would reach out to your rep for Princess, and they can either bring in a swatch book for you, or I'm sure they have them at the stores. So I would ask your rep for that swatch book. Where can you get a guide on how much Morph to use? Okay. So, you know what you can do if you want. So I have a little Morph cheat sheet. If you guys send me a message on Instagram, like a DM, I'll send you the cheat sheet, and it will tell you how much Morph to mix based on what level of color you're using. And it's just a couple of grams at most. Okay. So if you're using the high lift colors, those are way more alkaline. So you're going to need more Morph versus if you're using like a level 5, you're going to need less Morph because there isn't as much alkalinity in a level 5 than there is in a level 12. Amber says, do we get a swatch book with the kit? So that, I think it depends on what kit you purchase. Like if you buy the Game Changer, I believe it comes with a swatch book. So that is a question for sure that I would say ask your rep. I am in education, not necessarily in sales, so I don't know if I would give you the correct answer, if I'm being brutally honest. Okay, so please send me the cheat sheet. Yes, please send me an Instagram DM and I'll send you guys a picture of the cheat sheet. Okay, wait, I see some more questions. Weird question about the swatch book. Are the swatches on level or on white? I believe they are on white yak hair, so that you can see the true tonality of the colors. Angela, how can I find a distributor in Eastern Kentucky? Okay, so I'm going to put a website in the chat box. It's called Magix10USA.com. What you're going to want to do is go to Magix10USA.com, click on Get Magix, and there a distributor locator will pop up. So you will put in your address where you live, and then your local distributor's information will come up. Here's the thing, at the end of the webinar, once we're done with our model, what's going to happen is I'm going to give you guys a coupon code to go to a special website, and you will be able to get a trial kit. It's a 3-piece kit, 3 of the true neutrals, and a 21 volume and a wall chart at a pretty significant discount. So once our model is done, I will share with you guys that website and that coupon code so that you guys can, sorry, I'm following the question, so that you guys can try Magix. So one of the things I want to talk about, and this is kind of the primary point of this webinar, is the newest launch of True Neutrals. So I know a lot of you are new, so I want to clarify the difference between naturals and neutrals. So in our swatch book, we have a 0.0 color family, and we have a 0.00 color family. So here's the 0.0s, okay? And then these are the 0.00s. What has happened in the past is that people will try the 0.00 thinking it's for additional gray coverage. So for my Magix vets here, what is the difference between 0.0 and 0.00? This is important to know, okay? If you look at the color wheel, it's going to give you the answer. So look at it this way. 0.0 lays right here on the color wheel. So that is a yellow green. 0.00 is right over here. That is a yellow orange. So the 0.00 is a warm natural. The 0.0 is a cool natural. Okay. So True Neutrals, which just launched in September, are a true neutral, specifically designed for gray coverage. Okay. So up until the launch of True Neutrals, we would finesse our formula and add cool natural with a little bit of warm natural to get that robust opaque gray coverage. But we had to mix. With True Neutrals, we don't have to mix anymore. True Neutrals are the grab and go color. So you want a level 6, you grab a 6 True Neutral for 100% white hair, and you will get 100% coverage without having to mix multiple different colors. Now, if you wanted to mix different colors, you can. So say you want a more golden brown, then you could mix the 0.3 gold family in with the True Neutral. Say you want a red, then you can mix one of our reds in with the True Neutrals, okay? But they can also be used by themselves for 100% gray coverage. Big deal, okay? And so I want to talk about the difference and what makes True Neutrals and how to use them, right? Because in the kit, if you choose to purchase it, we have the True Neutrals. So the True Neutrals, like I said, are designed, do a 8 minutes. Yep. So she just finished her application. We're going to put a timer on for 8 minutes. And the reason we're doing 8 minutes is because on her ends, we're doing a long lasting demi. I don't need it to process for 10 minutes. 8 minutes are fine. So as soon as that timer goes off, she's going to rinse her. She's going to dry her in the back, and then we'll bring her out with her final results. So let me go back to this question here. I'm in Alberta, Canada, and have lots of well water. Do I have to wash the hair with clarifying shampoo or not? Okay, good question. As a stylist, I would recommend yes, because you have to think with the well water, there are mineral buildup right? Mineral buildup in the hair. I just like to work on clean hair, period. So even if they come in with like 3-day-old dry shampoo, hot yoga hair, wash it, right? Because here's the way I look at it. Say this is the hair. And let's see if I can do it like this. If this is the hair, this is the dirt in the middle, and then this is the hair color. The hair color has to get through the dirt before it can get to the hair. So why not eliminate the dirt, eliminate the mineral buildup, eliminate all the gunk in the hair so that you get better, proper gray coverage, okay? So I would recommend work on clean hair, work on damp hair even if you choose to. I prefer clean over dirty any day, twice on Sunday. Okay, is the percentage the same for true neutrals with the red? So Carolyn, please elaborate on that question because I don't know exactly what you mean. Do you get coverage from the 0.0 and the 0.00? Is the true neutrals for resistant gray hair? Good question. So you can still get coverage with 0.0 and 0.00, either alone or mixed together. True neutrals were designed for over 50% gray. So it's perfectly balanced, cool and warm. It's a neutral so that you can get 100% gray coverage. Now, I'll tell you this, there are people who get 100% gray coverage just using 0.0. There are people who get 100% gray coverage using 0.00. But the true neutrals are designed for over 50% gray. Here's what you need to know about the true neutrals. They are more saturated. Okay, so what that means is because they're designed specifically for gray coverage, they're going to be a lot more saturated. So visually, they may appear darker than the 0.0s. Right? But if you think about any line that you've used that has a specific gray coverage line, they are more saturated. We need more saturation to get more of an opaque and robust deposit. So they are more saturated for that reason. You don't have to use true neutrals on gray. You can use it on just a regular client if they don't have gray, but just that's what they were designed to do. So Blue says, would I use 0.00 for my clients that have gray and want a red? I would. So if you're formulating your reds and you don't want to brown it out, you can use true neutral. It's not going to brown it out. But if you use 0.00 warm natural along with a red, you're now putting enough warmth and enough gold in there to get a great coverage without it looking too hollow. So it's going to give you a more robust deposit. But you can also squirt a little bit of the true neutrals in with it if they're 100% gray and you don't want it to be flaming. If you want it vibrant and bright, then use 0.00 with the reds. But if you don't want it too vibrant, I would say definitely add in a little bit of true neutrals. The numerical value, guys, for true neutrals is 0.00N. So when you're going to purchase or when you're going to go buy, or if you're putting in an order, remember 0.0 cool natural, 0.00 warm natural, 0.00N with the N means true neutral. Okay. How long timing for application, and should we be mixing in small batches? So if it's going to take you longer than 25 or 30 minutes to apply, I would mix again. Typically our application times vary, but they're usually between 10 and 15 minutes. So I just mix one bowl, I do the roots, and then I mix the end color fresh. So I don't mix the color for the ends and let it sit there while I'm doing the application for the roots, because at that point it's oxidizing and I want it to oxidize on the hair, not in the bowl. So I would say mix in small batches if you're doing a lot of hair, long hair. If it's going to take you longer than 20-25 minutes, then you could mix a second bowl, but you don't have to. Also, your timer starts after your application. So I was watching another presentation on another 10-minute color line, and they were recommending apply the back first, set your timer, apply the front, and then when your timer goes off, rinse the back, and then finish timing, and then rinse the front. And I'm like, that's not going to work. So with Magix, you do your whole application, and then you set your timer for 10 minutes. Okay, let's see. So true neutral is, by the way, no. So, okay, Rebecca's asking, is the true neutral the same as the 0.0 and 0.00 combined? It's not. So visually you will get a similar result, but it's not like they took the batch of 0.0 and the batch of 0.00 and made true neutral. It's a whole different formula that's more balanced in the dyes that are used. Any chance that they will change 0.00 to 0.03 just for clarity's sake? Yeah, we can definitely have that conversation. So that was a difficult decision to make too, is like, what do we call the true neutrals? That's why I refer to it as true neutrals. It's just easier for me to know that the true neutrals are their own. And then we have 0.0 cool and 0.00 warm. Okay, IDT, are they easy to lift with bleach for future services? I've had no problem. Okay, and the way I think about it is it's only on the hair for 10 or 15 minutes, maybe 20 if you're doing a foil. So I've had no issue lifting it out of the hair. Now, if you leave it on the hair for like an hour, you might have trouble getting it back out because it's just staining. However, I've never had a problem bleaching through it. Just be mindful of this. If you put a level 3 or a 4, and then you want to bleach through it, it's going to be challenging whether you're using Magix or not, because now we're dealing with a dye load at a level 3 or a level 4. But I've had no problems in lifting out the color after I've done the roots. What's the longest you want to leave the color on if doing the roots and the ends? Like I said, I wouldn't leave it on longer than 30 or 40 minutes personally, because the whole point is to get it on and off quicker. But if you have to, you're fine. You don't have to worry about it progressively getting darker. The only thing that I would put into consideration is this. If the hair is fine, if the hair is porous, what could happen? Put Magix 10 aside for a second, just in the hair color world. Hair is fine, hair is porous, and you leave the color on too long, what could happen? So where we want to use the chat. Dark, it will go darker, it will grab darker, it will grab darker. Bingo. Okay. So in any situation, you have to be mindful of the canvas that you're working on. So if you know that their hair is fine and porous, and if you know that that color is going to stay on longer, just naturally what we would want to do, is that your timer? All right. Very cool. So she's taking her back. Just make sure you, actually, never mind. They're good. I trust them. Okay. I'm going to change my camera over really quickly. Okay. So yes, I would level down personally, because if I know it's going to be on there a long time, I want to make sure that I'm not setting myself up for a situation I'm going to have to correct later. Okay. Can you guys still hear me? I just got a notification that my microphone went out. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, good. Good. Thank you. Are you guys having fun? Are you guys having a good time? I'm having so much fun. It's so nice having Sarah here to do the application, and she's going to blow dry her in the back and then bring her over when we're all done. So, okay, I'm just going to, give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to press mute for a second. Just ask her to close the door so we don't hear them blow drying it. Okay. So back to the question about how long you want to leave it on the hair. Just think smart about it, right? Like, we're colorists and we know how hair behaves. So I would probably level down, just knowing that it's going to grab darker. Okay, what other question did we have that I missed? Let's see. Okay, I have clients that I first do the retouch, then highlight when the retouch is processing. Can I do this with Magix? Yes, you can, Blue. So it's so funny to me because we, as an industry, do things so many different ways to get to the same destination. And I find it funny sometimes when color manufacturers tell you, no, you can't do that. Like, if that works for you, then absolutely do it. So what Blue is saying, if I'm understanding correctly, he will put the root color on. While that's processing, he will go in and highlight. So you can absolutely do that with Magix 10, especially if you use Lift 9 bleach. Lift 9 is designed to work in conjunction with Magix 10. So what that means is it works faster. So I will always use Lift 9, especially if I'm doing the root retouch at the same time. But do whatever works for you. So if you're used to putting the roots on first and then highlighting, cool. Other people will do the highlights first, and once they're almost processed, then they go in and put the root color on. Totally fine. Other people will put the highlights and the root color right on afterwards and then process until the highlights are ready. Totally fine. Again, you don't have to worry about Magix getting darker one of our brand ambassadors, Elise, posted an Instagram story the other day, and it was another stylist who had used a 10-minute color in a level 8 and left it on for 15 minutes, and that level 8 looked like a 5. And she posted pictures. So I get there's that fear, because either you've experienced it or you know somebody who's experienced it and you're just like, not for me. And I hear you, not for me either. With Magix, you don't have to worry about that though. So that's awesome. Lift 9 is amazing. Yes, I love Lift 9. I'm reading the chat so you guys can't see it, which really sad. I've seen that. My girl Elise is the one who got me interested. Awesome, Angela. Very cool. Yeah, we love Elise. And there's a lot of you who found us through Nikki. So it's definitely very exciting. Okay, so Aditi says, do you have a clear formula to dilute toners? This is a great question. So what I'm going to segue into that when I talk about the high lift blondes. So I don't remember who it was that asked about high lift blondes, but let's talk about high lift blondes really quickly. I think they're underestimated and they're underused and they're underrated. So the typical, like the ideal client for a high lift blonde, okay, ideal would be somebody who's like a level 7 or 8 naturally, has finer textured hair, and they don't mind a little bit of warmth. So what Magix 10 Ultra Lift Blondes provide is 3 to 4 levels of lift in 20 minutes. So your level 7 or 8 can get to a level 9 or 10 in 20 minutes. But again, what is the texture we're working on? If their hair is finer, they'll definitely get there. If their hair is coarser, there might be a little bit more warmth. But what high lift blondes are designed to do are to give maximum lift, slight bit of deposit. So would you want to use a high lift blonde for gray coverage? What do you think? Would you want to use a high lift blonde for gray coverage? No, nope, 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 exactly. Why? So think about it this way. Its role is to lift, deposit. And for gray coverage, we need lift, deposit. So the ultra lift blondes are not for gray coverage. They're designed to give lift. Here's a way yes, because it's mostly lift, very minimal deposit. But that minimal deposit is why you can use the high lift blondes as a toner. And because when you're dealing with level 9, 10 porous hair, you don't want a heavy dye load. You want just a soft deposit. Okay, so the high lift blondes can then be used as a acidic or alkaline toner using our 6-volume developer and Magix Morph. So as far as the clear, so here's where it gets really cool. The high lift blondes that we have are ultra blondes right down here. So just to go over it with you, this is a 100, which is just like a neutral. This is 101, which is a gray, 102 violet, 103 gold, 104 copper, 108 beige pearl, okay? There's also this guy right here, 0.00. This is going to be, if you're using Magix as an acidic toner and you're used to having a clear in your formula or in your cabinet, 0.00 is what you're going to want to stock up on. So this is a dual product. The initial way that it was designed to be used was in conjunction with the high lift blondes. So what 0.00 is just no tonality, straight alkalinity. So if you want additional lift with your high lift, say you need an extra half a level of lift, you need a boost, 0.00 will give you that boost. So you mix your high lift formula, half of the formula can be, say, 102 violet, the other half can be 0.00, you're mixing with double 40, and it's going to give you an extra half to 1 level of lift. Now, if you're using the high lift blonde as an acidic toner, meaning you're putting Morph in the formula, you are acidifying it. What this is going to act like is a clear. Because again, there's no tonality to it. It's just the base with the Caravage 18, and Morph is diluting its lifting power. So this is now going to act like a clear. So if you have highly porous hair and you're scared to put too much of a dye load on it, you can use 0.00 in with your Morph to make it a clear and dilute your formula down. Does that make sense? Isn't that exciting? Are you guys following? Yes, got it? Mind blown? Oh my God. Yes, yes, yes. It's awesome. Whoa. Oh, love Morph. Okay, in the Nikki Wildflower box, there was a 6.31, but I don't see it on the color chart. Okay, so 6.31 is on this, it's on the wall chart, but it's part of our fantasy. So these colors here are what we call our fantasy series. And here is what they are. So most people think fantasy, they think of these guys. So what the fantasy series is just pre-blended color. So it is like, you know how there's some manufacturers that have 500 different colors and it's like 6 brown, copper, red, and 5 violet, red, orange. They're pre-blended. So that's what these colors are. They're pre-blended. They work just the same as every other Magix color. So they will give you great coverage. You can make them an acidic demi. You can make them an alkaline demi. But they are what I call oxymorons sometimes, right? So the 6.31, if you think about it, it's a level 6, 3, which is gold, and 1, which is ash. That should, in theory, counteract each other, but it doesn't. So the 6.31, I forgot what the name of it is, the cappuccino. So it's a golden brown that has an ash reflect into it so that it's not bright and orangey. It's one of Nikki's favorite colors. I think she like orders and uses it all the time. So it's on the wall chart, but on the color wheel, 6.31, it's warm. I can't find it here. Okay, cappuccino. So right over here is where 6.31 is. So it's warm with a little bit of an ash reflect so that it doesn't get too bright. Mirna says, do you need more morph then? So if you are mixing, and I think you're referring to using the 0.00 as a clear, if you're mixing 0.00 in with the high lifts, you don't need more morph. You just need to mix it for the high lift mixing ratio and not for like the level 5 or below mixing ratio. Cool, I hear them blow drying, so they should probably be out here in the next 10 minutes. I want to talk about our developers. So you guys have probably heard and seen and us talking about our developers. We have 5 different developers to choose from. So we have a fix, which is a 6 volume. Easiest way to remember, fix is 6, okay? 6 volume. We have a 12, a 21, a 32, and a 40. So a lot of people are like, okay, Araz, why the 12 and 21? What happened to 10 and 20? Why are we changing it up? And here's what I will tell you. So Magix 10 developers are slightly more oxygenated, which means there's a little bit more gas. So maybe you've heard it this way, the developer is the gas, right? So there's a little bit more gas in our developers to push those micropigments, to push those smaller micro dyes in the cortical fiber a little bit quicker. Not enough to where it's causing excess damage. It's just a little bit more gas combined with the micropigments is how this whole process happens in 10 minutes. It's phenomenal, in my opinion. So is it important to use our developers? What do you think? Yes, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Hell yes. I would say so. Okay. And here's the thing, guys. Like I said, I've been a hairdresser for 20 years. I know this industry and I love us. And I know we like to break the rules. But I would say when it comes to any manufacturer that's producing hair color, manufacturing hair color, use the dedicated developer. Use a dedicated developer. There's research and development that goes into making sure you get these phenomenal results with the developers, okay? I would just not recommend using another developer because you might get inconsistent results, okay? Why is the 0.71 family not considered fantasy? So the fantasy shades are singular tones, like we have 7.40, 5. Remember the numbers, hold on. Where are they? 5.75, 5.73, they're singular. The 0.71 is a whole family. There are how many of the 0.71s? 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5 of them. So it's a whole family. 0.71s are one of my favorite color families that I use all the time, especially to tone down like orangey gold highlights if they're wanting like a brunette balayage vibe. It's still warm, it's still chestnutty, but there's ash to it. And the ash helps refine, and it's just absolutely beautiful. But I would say this is my answer, and I don't work for, I don't own the company, so I don't know their answer. But my understanding is the 0.71 is a whole family, whereas the fantasy series are just singular ones. Like for example, we have 4.11 that was singular until we launched the 0.11 family. So when the new color books come out, that's going to move in with the double ash family. Okay, let's see. Rebecca says, I did tried it with different brand developer and the result color was not as vibrant. We all test it. We all try to break the rules, but if you want the most consistent results, if you want the most, the best use of your color, use it with our developer for sure. Will the 0.1 and 0.11 cover gray without being mixed in with the 0.0 or true neutral? Please don't apologize for flooding me with questions. This is the point of these webinars. We're going to wrap it up soon. I want to make sure that your questions are answered, and it helps other people. So the more questions you ask, the more other people will benefit from it. So to your point, will the 0.1 and the 0.11 cover gray? Let's think about it. So if you're dealing with 100% white hair, and you know that our 0.1 and 0.11 is a blue-green, there's brown, there's a base to it, but it's primarily blue-green. What kind of results do you think you could expect? Yep, it's going to be very ashy. So you won't get that robust full coverage. It's going to change the tonality of it, but you don't have that enough brown to cover the hair. So when you think about white hair, what you're putting on it is it's going to show. So if you're putting a yellow green, it's going to show yellow green. Okay, what if it's only 30 to 40%? You should be fine. You should be fine. Is their hair fine? Is their hair coarse? There's so many, that's like a nuanced question. I always like to mix a little bit of either true neutral or 0.0 when I'm dealing with over 30% gray, because I just don't want to see any transparency. Okay, let me see. What is this other? A hollow gray. Yeah. So what would you get? What would you use to get that mushroom brown color as a toner? Angela's asking. So the mushroom brown, the one thing I know about it is it depends on who's looking at it. So I have clients bring in mushroom brown and I'm like, that's like sandy. I have clients that bring in mushroom brown. I'm like, that's purple. So depending on the look, and if you want to send me a DM and I can help you formulate for it. For sure, you have to lighten to like at least a level 9 and then deposit down. One of my, it's not really mushroom, but you can mix it in with is the 8.24. It's a violet copper, but it looks very nude. But I would say send me pictures of what you're thinking and we can work it out and formulate for it. The color wheel is your best friend when you're formulating, guys. This is going to tell you every color that we have in the Magix color family and where they lie on the color wheel. So what are their background tones? What is the tonality of it? Oh, our model's back. Hold on. Let me finish with this question really quickly, and then I'm going to change the screen so you guys can see our model. Oh my God, looks so good. Okay, so as far as the mushroom brown, Angela, send me a DM. I will help formulate. There was one more other question. I used 6.11 on pre-lightened foils and it was not as dark. Should I have dried the hair or use 6 volume? I used 12. I don't think that was a developer issue. Yeah, if the hair is soaking wet, guys, and it was just pre-lightened. So one of the things that I found is anytime you tone on freshly lightened hair, you're going to get halfway. So here's what I mean. If you got to a 9 and you put a 6, you're going to get to like a 7.5 because it's just freshly lightened, because the hair is still very swollen. Even with root melts, guys, sometimes I will lift to a 9. And if I put a 6 on it, I get to like a 7, 7.5. So I would formulate a little bit darker because that hair is still very swollen. It's not going to accept the color the way it should. on the roots especially. And then number two, definitely you don't want to put it on soaking wet hair. So what can happen is if the hair is soaking wet, it's going to dilute your color down. So as when you're working on hair, definitely damp is the way to go and not soaking wet. That could maybe be what happened. Let's see. Does Magix 10 have a comparison formula chart? We don't, Blue. We do not have that as of yet, but it is in the works. Okay, so I'm going to share my, I'm going to change the screen and you guys should be able to see the model. So here, I'm going to bring that camera over again. Hang tight. Is it connected still? Let's see. How awesome does she look? Okay. Oh, no, that's not working. Hold on. Technical difficulties, guys. Hang tight. Is it going to work? Here we go. Is this one it? Boom. Okay. All right. Look, coverage, guys. Jesus. All right. I'm going to turn this light off. This is, I'm not a videographer. Okay, check out that coverage, guys. So formula recap, level 6, true neutral on her root. Level 7, true neutral on her ends. Just to give her a more even.
Hey, Araz, we're no. I think you've covered your microphone.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can, yeah.
Oh, maybe I was covering my microphone. Okay. I can't see the chat box right now because I you guys the after here, but look at that beautiful coverage. Healthy, beautiful, shiny hair. She's happy. Are you happy? Yes. She's very happy. Okay. I'm going to turn this camera off really quickly. What do you guys think? Looks great. So pretty. Let's transition here. Okay. All right. So that is her. Guys, I'm going to let her go. You can you take pictures of her too? Yeah. Perfect. Okay. So I want to see the chat box. Hold on. Wow. Looks great. So nice. Looks beautiful. It looks great, right? I mean, you guys, that was literally done from when we started this webinar to now as we end the webinar. So this is what is possible. I'm in a little thing for you guys. So here's the thing. If you love the results that we got, if you are wanting to try any questions that you have, yes?
Hey, Araz, I'm sorry. I think your hair is covering the microphone and as you move the hair, yeah, there you go. Thanks.
Can you hear me now? Yeah,
perfect.
It's on my long, luscious locks. Okay, so what I was saying is this. If you want to try Magix 10, if you're excited and you want to give it a shot, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to getmymagixkit.com and you're going to put on code October webinar 30. This coupon code will be valid in 15 minutes. So that is your coupon code, all caps, October webinar 30. Okay, so you go to checkout. It's an eye opener kit, guys. It's 3 colors, level 5, level 6, and level 7, true neutral, a 21 volume in the small size, which is this size, and you get a wall chart, okay? And it is 30% off. So like I said, that will be valid at 10:15, October webinar 30, all caps. And the only thing I will say is this, guys, last time we did this, we had a ton of orders. There's a lot of you on. So make sure you read the email, guys. We need 7 to 10 days to process these orders. And then as I'm sure you all know, shipping has been shipping. So just know that it's going to take maybe a week or 2 for you to actually receive your colors based on the fact that shipping has been a nightmare. And we need a few days to process all of the orders. So with that, guys, I want to say thank you. Tune into the Magix 10 Instagram page later on. I'll post before and after so you guys can see the pictures. And we got that done in 50 minutes, guys. literally 50 minutes. This could have been your client in and out, and you just made however much you charge for a full color application. So thank you guys. I appreciate you very much. I hope you have an amazing rest of your Monday. And remember, getmymagixkit.com, coupon code all caps, October webinar 30. Cool? Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your week.